Hi everybody, this is Julie Hall from Women Unlimited, and today with me I've got the pleasure of interviewing Kimberly Davis. Hi Kimberly.
Hi Julie.
Hi. Now Kimberly runs a business called, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, Sarsaparilla Marketing.
Okay, the R is silent.
Sarsaparilla Marketing. There we go. Perfect. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know. They did something with that spelling. I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe I should have checked with you beforehand, but anyway, not to worry. So you may recognize Kimberly from your televisions because she was actually one of Alan Sugar's apprentices. In what year was that? 2010, was it, Kim?
2009.
2009. How was that?
It was a bit of a double-edged sword, really, because on one hand, it was the most amazing experience because you felt like a superhero. You were coming up with an idea for a product, turning it around and doing it and having it for sale in a market and making a profit off of it within 48 hours. Like, that was incredible. And it really made you realize that it doesn't matter what your dream, your idea, whatever, like you can turn it around with the right people and the right assistance. But at the other end of it, it was really one of the most stressful things I've ever done because you've got 10 million people watching you ultimately take on a task that's, they give you pretty much an impossible task. A lot of people sit there screaming at the TV like I used to, going, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? But they don't realize that because it's television, there's a lot of restrictions. So you're ultimately given this impossible task and you know that 10 million people are going to watch you muck it up. Very, very stressful.
Yeah. How long were you in for?
I made it about halfway.
Oh, that's good going.
Yeah.
Good going.
Look, there were a lot of people who came off with really bad reputations or, came off really, really badly. And, The Guardian said that I was the nicest candidate ever. And I'm really happy to wear that badge. I've come across as somebody that people seem to like, which is great. And so, I'm very happy with my experience.
Brilliant. And then after that, was that when you launched Sarsaparilla?
I actually have been running my own marketing agency since 2004. So prior to this, it was called Maestro Marketing and Development. But what happened was when I did The Apprentice, it was really interesting. On the first day, Lord Sugar had us all behind the table. And we hadn't spoken a word to one another, not a single word. And he went through every one of our CVs. And when he came to me, and he basically told you what he thought of you. And when he came to me, he said, Kimberly Davis, it says here and he went through my CV, and I like to think that I've done some really good stuff, working VH1. I've worked with Beyonce, Michael Bublé, all these people when I worked in the entertainment industry back in New York City. So he says here you've done all this work, blah, 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 blah. And he took my CV. He literally chucked it across the table at me. He leaned in. I'm going to lean in and do it to you now. And he said, I hate marketing people, and the only reason I use them is because I'm told I have to. And I was like,
Great!
Okay, I'll see you in the boardroom. But it was great because what it did, and people often ask me, what's the best thing you took away from the show? And I say that, it made me sit there and think and ask myself, why does he hate marketing people so much? Why? I haven't spoken a word to him. He doesn't know anything about me. Why does he hate me so much? And I realized that the answer to that actually is because he wasted millions of pounds on marketing that he didn't want and that he didn't need and that did nothing to make him any money. And then I started thinking even further about it, and I realized that marketing's not a regulated industry like law or medicine. And so anybody can put their hand up in the air and say, I'm a marketeer. And there's nothing to stop you or me or, somebody on the street from knowing the difference between somebody who actually does know good marketing from somebody who just feels like they've got a creative gene in them and thinks that qualifies them somehow.
Yeah.
And that's when I started up this idea for Sarsaparilla and relaunched the company under this new name with this new kind of product and services, because what I wanted was to protect people from what I call the flash, the fluff, and the fakers. So all the people that make things look pretty or make things sound, like the Muppet Show, inspirational, celebrational, it's nothing. So, and people who read a dummy's guide and think that they know something about marketing. So that was the whole premise the show really inspired me to take the business in a new direction and go from there.
So now you run Sarsaparilla Marketing as a full-time business.
I do.
Is it just you in the business, or do you have other people that work with you?
We've got a handful of people in the business, yeah. So we're small, but we're powerful.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're small, but we're efficient and we're powerful. We've got good systems in place. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Cool. So if we sort of explore that, what you do is ultimately help small businesses and probably medium-sized businesses as well, but really get to grips with their marketing and be more successful with their marketing activities?
Absolutely. Too many businesses, I'd say one of the things that makes us really different is too many marketing agencies are all about just providing the service. But what they don't do is have a formula or a process which takes people from their marketing to their sales. So one of the ways I always explain the difference between marketing and sales is that if you imagine a football field, a football pitch, and marketing is we've got to get the ball from this side of the field down to this side of the field and then ultimately kick it in the goal, right? That's the whole point. So the marketing team's job is to get the ball from this side of the field to this side of the field, removing obstacles, removing, with the strategy of how to get it down, and to do all that hard work. And then to get the ball, and this is the key part, is the linking the marketing to the sales, which is getting the ball to the player whose sole purpose and sole focus, that David Beckham guy, who's there waiting for that ball to get delivered to him so he can just focus on kicking it in the goal.
Right.
That's why the salespeople get all the glory. Get all the work.
And all the marketing people have done all the hard work to get there.
Of course. But it's that teamwork. One really can't survive without the other. They're very much yin and yang to one another. And it's that synergy between the two of them. And it's that linking of marketing to sales that we really focus on. Because otherwise you're just passing, the team's just going from one end to the field to the next and back and forth. And it's a lot of wasted energy and time and expense and so on and so forth. But if you think about what a coach does on the sidelines, it's all about that strategy of how we're going to get the ball from here to this person into the goal. And that's what we do. So
what do you suggest to people that are just single man businesses, micro businesses, that they don't have anybody that they can pass the ball off to? They have to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really, really tough. That's why we've, at Sarsaparilla, we've come up with, and I've spent years developing processes and helping small businesses, whether it's through my upcoming book or the webinars. I run free webinars from time to time, so that if they have no budget, they can come to some of my free webinars. I do one-day events, and then I've ultimately got a product called the Complete Marketing Magnetism System, which is actually your step-by-step guide to do this first, do this second, and this will teach you exactly what you need to know, how you need to do it, and you could do it on a very, very small budget.
Cool. So what are some of the key things that people should be focusing on within their business to get the ball from this side to this side?
Very, very good question. I think one of the things is you have to have your foundations right. So many people go in and they try to put the cart before the horse. So they go in and they start off at something like PR. PR is fantastic. You will eventually need PR, but it comes last in the process.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. Because, you only get one chance to go out to the media and start talking to them and telling them what it is you do. If you're not ready for the influx of people that are going to come your way, then you lose your chance. You lose your opportunity. So you need to have some really good foundations. You need to be unique. You need to stand out. I don't care if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you're really regulated, you feel like, how can I be different in this field? How can I be niche? There's always a way. There's always a way. And you need to find that thing that makes you stand out, makes you different, and not something like, great customer service or knowledge, because I say to people all the time, people always think that makes them unique. Okay? I say, I always expect everybody to know what they're doing and to be nice to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is not a unique, that does not count. But, if you could be the first and the only person to do something, then that will put you ahead of the rest. So you need those kind of foundations before you can start moving into the more advanced stuff like social media and getting your website done. People always want to do their website first.
Yeah.
always want to do their website first. And that, because they feel the pressure of, I've got it, that's my business launching. But if you don't have those key fundamental bits and pieces done, it becomes an exercise. You have to redo it, and you wind up redoing and redoing, and you wind up paying 3, 5, 10 times more to do things the right way by the time you figure out what the right way is.
So, yeah, I mean, it is quite difficult to find out what that USP is. What is, we talk about this a lot in the business clubs. What suggestions would you give to people to kind of really get a grasp on that?
The key to it is realizing you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so it's more about figuring out what does your target market need and want, right? People buy what they want, not what they need.
Always, yeah.
Right? So you have to figure out what really truly is going to motivate your audience. Where is the pain? Where does it hurt? And how can you provide a service or a product that is going to alleviate the pain and make their life easier? So a really good example of a really, really, really good unique selling point. I'll give you two. I'll give you two really good examples.
Great.
The first one, and I use this in my talks all the time, is Domino's Pizza. So when Domino's came into the market, obviously there were tons of people doing home delivery of pizza, right? And people would have thought you're insane for trying to come in. You've got an inferior product. Pizza tastes like rubbish. Nobody thinks Domino's is the best pizza in the world, do they? No. But what they did was they did a combination. It's just the combination of the two services that they offered together that made them completely unique in the market. They became the first and only, right? I love using those words together. The first and only pizza delivery company to make sure that you have your pizza to your door, fresh and hot, within 30 minutes of the phone call. And they knew that was actually the real problem. The real problem was people are hungry now. They've got a party full of kids who are starting to act up, and they need to feed them really quick. Or they've just come home from work, and it's 10:30 at night, and they're exhausted, and they don't want to cook, and they just want their food. They want it now, and they want it hot. They want it fresh, and they don't want to sit around and hear that there's an hour and a half wait for it. So they guaranteed it 30 minutes, and you almost sit there wishing that they show up 31 minutes late. So
yeah, because they gave it free, didn't they, if they were late?
Yeah, so it's win-win. They created a win-win situation for people, which was brilliant. So it wasn't that they created some wonderful secret sauce or, had the best product in the world. What they had was the best combination of services that they offered. So that's the first example. The second example that I love is have you ever watched a show called Man vs. Food?
No.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's this brilliant show. It's this guy going across America, and he just eats stupid amounts of food. He does these food challenges, but he also finds the best, most unique places. It's a great exercise in marketing. If you ever want to see great marketing, watch any episode of Man vs. Food.
Yeah.
One of the places has their own unique selling point, which is why they're featured on the show. And my favorite one is a place called, I forget what the place is called, but they serve basically something called the Juicy Lucy. Okay, they've named it, which is great, to give whatever it is that they're doing their own unique name. So it's the Juicy Lucy, and what it is it's a beef patty, cheese in the inside, another beef patty, and then they close the beef patty around. Okay?
Right.
They cook it like that so that the cheese all melts gooey on the inside, so that when you bite into it, cheese everywhere, gooey yumminess.
Yes, right? A heart attack on a plate, I suspect.
It's a heart attack on a plate. But really, here's the thing, is it's called the Juicy Lucy, and people come from miles to have it. What is it? It's a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a glorified cheeseburger. But people are fascinated because the cheese is on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah.
So it's not reinventing the wheel. It's still a cheeseburger. It's just how they put it together and how they label it. It's completely different. So, there's 1,000,001 cheeseburger joints in the world. How do you make yourself different? Put the cheese on the inside.
That's genius.
So find a way to put the cheese on the inside.
So there's a tweetable quote, isn't it? Find a way to put the cheese on the inside. Two really brilliant examples, a small business and a big business. So if we're actually trying to make that really practical, what should a small business owner do when they're trying to figure out how to get the cheese on the inside?
Well, you have to just look at the real key to it is, and this actually goes to step 2 of my complete marketing magnetism system, is you have to look at your target market. That is really the key. So many people jump over the the market research part of things, and they don't bother to get to really know and understand who their target market is. And we bring a lot of our ego into our business. It becomes our baby.
No way.
Yes.
My ego?
Yeah. Oh, no, never. It's all for the good of everybody. But it's, we bring it's our baby, it's our business. We love it, we want it, we have a vision for it. But sometimes what the market needs and wants is different from how we visualize it. And, you have to position yourself in a way that's going to attract more clients to you. And, that's why some of the best business owners and the biggest business people in the world, they are able to detach themselves completely from the business. And instead of saying, what do I want? How do I want to position this business? They ask, what are the people asking for? What do the people want? What are they demanding? What is going to motivate them to buy? They figure out what that is, and then they work from the end backwards, if that makes sense.
Can I tell you a story, Kim?
Of course.
So, we do our monthly business club every month at the British Library. And I've been running it now for over 18 months. We launched it in May 2011. My God, that's amazing. Anyway, and when I launched it, I called it the Moxie Club. So Moxie is North American slang that means guts, chutzpah. Yes. It's like courage. Yes. So I thought, brilliant name for the club, right? And we had a fairly slow start. I mean, it wasn't bad. We were getting like 15 to 20 people, but it wasn't amazing. And then in December, I decided to change the name to the Women Unlimited Business Club. Really simple thing. From January onwards, we sold out every month. The difference between Moxie, which caused confusion, and business, which was absolutely clear, was massive. And the big learning for me in that, to your point about ego, was actually... I had to let go of it. I had to say, okay, this is not, is it that it's not working, or is it something else? And just by making that simple change, just had a massive impact on the growth and the popularity of the business clubs.
Absolutely. I mean, many people call me the anti-marketing marketer because, because in many ways I go against what most people think is marketing. And I think marketing is more of a science than an art, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Of
course you need creativity. Of course it needs an artistic and creative element to it. Absolutely. But to me, that's the cherry on the top, as opposed to the foundations and all, the cake part of it. And what you did is a perfect example of just simplifying and saying what it does on the tin.
Yeah. Yeah.
People feel like they have to give things the greatest, most clever, interesting name on the face of the planet. No. All you really need to do is just, say what it is that you are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, it's Sarsaparilla, money-making marketing. We help you make money from your marketing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I hope everybody wants to do, and that's the point of doing marketing. You have the business club, and that's what we're getting together. We're a club, group of people getting together to talk about business. It's very, very simple. It's to the point. It says what it is on the tin, and people understand that. People actually, here's a really fun fact for you. People actually take in information, despite how intelligent they are. When we're on the street, when we're reading stuff, when we're skimming stuff, we take it in at an 8-year-old level. Mm. So if your messages don't communicate to an 8-year-old, you've made it way too complicated. And they say if you confuse them, you lose them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not about being patronizing. It's just about being clear.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
yeah.
No one's patronizing. No.
Yeah. So what are some of the simple So what are some of the simple mistakes that you see business owners making all the time?
It's funny that you should ask this. I do actually do a webinar called How to Stop Wasting and Start Making Money from Your Marketing Right Now, Guaranteed. And in that, I go through about 10 to 12 of these things that people do all the time. There's probably, if I wrote a huge list of them, there's probably about 50 or more at least. But the things that I see people wasting money on the most would be advertising. Big one. I can't tell you how many events or clients that I've had, and people have come up to me and they said, Kim, I ran my advertisement in the yellow pages. Why didn't they come? I put it in the magazines. Why didn't they come? Why didn't they come? Well, it's because, people we are bombarded by 4,000 messages.
Yeah.
Brands and sales messages every single day. So we're used to just blocking them out. And it's been really interesting because there was this study that I saw on a special on TV once, which was really, really good. And it basically had a journalist going out to the Covent Garden into the market. And he had a specially printed up magazine. And in it, there was a page that said really plainly, in less words than I'm going to use right now, but the gist of it was basically, stop here, tell announcer that you've seen this, and we'll give you £500. So it's like really simple and plain and bold and big, huge letters and taking up the whole page. And the announcer simply just asked people to go, asked 100 people, go through this and tell me, what you think of the magazine. Just go through every page and tell me what you observe, what you think of it. Out of the 100 people, how many people you think actually stopped and said, hey, I want my £500? 2. 3.
Yeah.
It was 3. It was amazing.
That is amazing.
So it's very interesting how the psyche of that works. And, there are definitely things that people can do if they are going to do advertising. There are some businesses and some industries where it does work. But there's certain rules and certain things that need to be said. And it's just such a long list that, unless you're really a professional in this field, you really aren't going to, it take a lot of luck for you to.
Yeah, I had when I did my first conference, actually no, it was the second conference we did for Women Unlimited back in 2010, I put an ad in a Women in Business supplement in The Guardian, which cost me about £450. And I sold one ticket. One ticket. It was a £65 ticket for a £450 ad. Not a great ROI on that, I'll tell you. And I thought, it was my perfect audience. And yet, nothing.
It's got the highest cost, the highest ticket price, and the lowest return on investment. I mean, now online advertising is a different animal altogether. And if you do pay-per-click stuff, and if you've got, again, the right kind of business for that, that can be very, very lucrative because you're paying, people showing the interest and taking the initiative. Yeah. But print advertising is to me a dead dinosaur.
But it's interesting you talk about pay-per-click because it is still something that you do need to be quite expert in because it can be a money drain if you're doing it and you're not smart about it. I mean, I love pay-per-click as a way of being able to test interest in a particular topic, even if it's not, because you could spend £50 and you could determine very quickly whether or not this is something that people want.
Exactly. I'm a huge fan, and that's exactly right, Julie. Like, you want to test the market. Any idea that you have, anything you want to do, before you do it, you've got to test. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And not be too attached to the outcome.
Exactly. Leave the ego at the door, girl.
Yeah.
Ego at the door. Yeah. You have to listen to what the people want. Give them what they want, and they'll come. They'll tell you what they want, and then you just put that in front of them, and they will buy. That's the best way to do business. That's why, as I said, the best entrepreneurs are the ones who, didn't go into it because they had one particular passion for one particular thing. They went into it because they literally just saw opportunities.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of opportunities.
So in terms of your own client base, do you ever sort of give them advice to move away from where they're at in terms of what they're doing?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm a New Yorker, so I can't help but be a bit honest. Sometimes a bit overly honest with stuff. I always try to do it in the nicest way possible, of course. But I absolutely have had, if I see that somebody's in a position where this is not going to work, and this is not going to work at all, I will either say to them, look, this, I'm not going to take you on as a client because I just don't feel that it's ethical. Or if I see there, and this is more times than not, there's potential in the idea, they're down the right track, but they need to be kind of picked up and put on a different track. They're in the right train on the wrong track, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just a matter of shifting the directions and saying, this is a great idea, but it's not going to work if you do it the way you're doing it. We've got to get you doing it like this. Otherwise, you're going to waste lots of time, money, and effort.
So what are 3 simple ways that people can figure out whether or not they're on the right track?
First and foremost, I'm a huge fan of measure, measure, measure. That's one of the things that makes us unique as well. I say, I'm going to teach you how to measure your marketing and, hold me to it. Absolutely hold me to it. And it can be something, measuring can be something as simple as just asking every single person who calls you and keeping a very good record about, hi, how did you hear about us? It doesn't have to be really costly and break the bank. You just got to know whether or not, as you said, you put it in an advert in a newspaper, and if every time somebody called to order a ticket, you said to them, how did you hear about us? And it was through friends and referrals. Yeah. It was only the one time that you heard, oh, I saw it in an ad. Then it's not working. So,
yeah, I used a discount code, so yeah. It was an easy way to kind of manage it remotely.
Exactly. Discount codes, promotional codes. If you have any way of tracking those, again, call and to get this certain discount, use this promo code. So obviously people will make the effort to remember the promo code, and then when they book it, exactly what came from what. I've been really surprised through my measurement. Sometimes the people who I think are going to be the greatest resources and joint ventures and partners to me turn out not working nearly as well as I thought they would. And the ones who I thought, I'll just do this because it's a favor for a friend, or, or I just really like the person. And so, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. That person winds up bringing in tons of business to me. And you just go, wow, okay. So it keeps you on the path. Measurement is my answer to your question, is always, always, always have some sort of measurement system in place so that you're never guessing.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever be guessing with your marketing, or feeling like I have to do this because this is what you do as a business. I have to have this. I have to do that. You don't have to do anything. If it doesn't work for you, you either have to change the way you're doing it, or you have to just drop it completely.
It's quite interesting. I read an article actually just a couple of days ago from a blogger called Justine Musk, all about giving yourself permission. And we get so caught up in these rules that we think society has for us and our loved ones has for us, even the ones that we have for ourselves, that stop us from actually following the path that's most natural and actually is going to give us the most success.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe 100% that deep down inside, we all know what would make us happy, what we want to do, and how we want to do it. And unfortunately, we're programmed with these voices inside our head. I actually do, completely unrelated to Sarsaparilla, I do a talk sometimes to either kids in schools and whatnot, and it's called Permission to Dream. And I got it from the idea from Rene Carrial. I don't know if you know who Rene is, but he's a real bigwig. He was a BBC journalist. He's also been on the chairman on the board of Pepsi and M&S and all those guys. And he's worked with Kofi Annan and Bill Clinton and Branson, and he's just a major big deal. And he's been a mentor to me, and we were talking, and we were initially trying to find out, what makes me different in this market and all that sort of stuff. And he says, well, there's definitely something in your Americanness, because as an American, you grow up with this cheesy American dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could be anything. And he says, tell me a little bit more about that. And I said, well, I went to bed very lucky as a kid, being told by my mother, I remember being tucked in as a 5-year-old being told, what are you going to be, Kim, when you grow up? Are you going to be the first woman astronaut? Are you going to be the first woman president? Are you going to be, everything started with the first woman, and then it was some crazy, unheard of at that time.
Yeah.
Type of thing, and Hillary Clinton comes along. I was like, you're taking, I'm supposed to be the first woman president.
I'm going to try that with my daughter.
One of the other stories I tell there's 2 stories I'll tell you really quick, is one, at 14 years old, I walked into the journalism room at my high school and saw that we had just done an interview with Julia Roberts right after Pretty Woman. And I said to Tina Lane, who was, my first ever real mentor and teacher, I said, did we get this interview with Julia Roberts? We're a high school newspaper. She's doing Vogue. How did we get this? And she said to me, I'll never forget, she said, you can reach anyone, anywhere, with 7 phone calls and knowing the right thing to say. And I thought, lady, you're crazy. But I went home and I tried And next thing you know, I'm interviewing Andre Agassi, you know, because I looked at the walls. I said, who do I want to meet? Ooh,
Yeah.
Andre Agassi at the time. So I met Andre when he had hair.
Long time ago then.
Long time ago. But I was 14 years old. You know, I had no car. I had no money. There was no internet or cell phones at the time. It was literally just pick up the phone, make some phone calls, and know the right thing to say, and then find somebody to drive me to the next time.
Because you're 14.
I was 14.
So what would be one of the things that you would say, though, to kind of, you know, it's easy to say know the right thing to say, but what kind of thing would you say?
Same exact thing about knowing what to say in your sales stuff. You have to think about what would motivate them to want to buy from you. So same thing with meeting Andre Agassi. Why would Andre Agassi ever want to meet a 14-year-old? What do I possibly have to offer him? You know, but the truth of the matter is we all have something that we can offer to somebody else, whether it's contacts or resources or knowledge or experience or whatever. You know, I think at that time it was just simply, you know, I write for the high school paper, and I had gotten the local papers to agree to let, if I had gotten something, that they would have published it too. So I became a journalist at 14 years old with Tina Lane looking and scrutinizing my, you know, how my words, so that it was really, really good content, which was great, which is, you know, where I get a lot of my writing background from. But, you know, she was really helping me out. I mean, Tina Lane and the other kids and the other students, like Andre was the beginning of it. There was a whole slew more people. When I'd hit a wall, there was always somebody there to help me out and go, I'll drive you, I'll give you the money, I'll, you know, do this, I'll do that. It's amazing the power of how people want to help you and help you achieve your dream. People want to support you. We don't think that they do. Sometimes we get this into our head, like, no, people will laugh at me. They'll think I'm crazy. They think I'm silly. No, not at all. You know, not at all. They look at you and they go, wow, I wish I had the chutzpah to go that I wanted the Moxie to go.
The Moxie, exactly.
Yeah. But that was amazing. And then, you know, the other sad side of that is I talked to a group of young girls at a high school, or whatever the equivalent of high school is over here. And this one girl came up to me afterwards. She says, I really am desperate to be a camera woman in the movies. And she says, there's not many women doing that, but I really, really want to do it. And she says, but my teachers are telling me that I can't do it because I'm really good at math, and because women don't do that job, and because I go to a public school. And I said, hold on a second. I said, how old are you? And I think she said she was 15 or 16, I think she was. And I said, I'm not great with the geography here, you know, because I live in London, and let's face it, when you're in America, you live in London, you don't really go much out of London, do you?
Yeah.
I said, but aren't we kind of close to Pinewood Studios here? She says, yeah, we're only a couple of miles away. I said, right. I said, do you have a car? Yes. I said, okay. You're going to get into your car, you're going to go down to Pinewood, and you're going to offer to sweep floors, do whatever, just get yourself into the environment. And when you work there, doing whatever you do, selling candy, I don't care what it is, you make sure you tell everybody you want to be a camera woman. And if there's any leftover hours in the day and there's a camera person who's willing to show you how it all works, you sit there and you learn it. And you meet with the head of the studios and you just say, I'll do anything here. And she goes, oh, that's a good idea. She goes, well, maybe I could do that because my brother interns there. It is right. You live 2 miles away. Your brother is already working there. And teachers are telling you can't do this because you go to a public school? Like, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Please, people of women
Britain. Women of Britain.
You can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Please, 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 please don't let the voices in your head get to you. Oh, you got me riled up here, Julie.
That's what we do here at Women Unlimited.
Riled up. We got to.
Well, I think on that riled up note, I think it's a great note to finish on today. Thank you so much, Kim. It's been really brilliant, great fun to talk to you. So many fabulous stories, and actually some really important messages in there too.
Thank you very, very, very much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kim.
Good luck. Thanks.
That was